Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to another Define on TikTok Live. My name is Caitlin, and I am so excited to be on here with you guys today. Good morning, Angela. Good morning, Tess. I'm going to give us all a few minutes before we dive into this workshop. Hey, Jenna. I want you guys to all grab your journals, a piece of paper, whatever you are going to use in today's session. This is going to be a good one. Good morning, everyone. Hey, Shauna. Today, I'm going to slowly start to warm us up, get everyone settled. I'm so happy to hear that. Yes. Yay, that makes me so happy. I am so glad that you are all here today for this journaling workshop. And I'm going to walk you through. We're going to start this off by going over the reasons for journaling, how to choose what time is best for you. And then for today's specific workshop, we'll be targeting the morning journaling goals. And then at a future date, we can do the evening as well. But we're going to start this off by going over how to journal in the morning. So this actually came up recently when a lot of us were setting our goals for November, and journaling was a big thing that we wanted to do more of, but weren't quite sure where or how to start, because you open a blank page and suddenly it's like, okay, what do I write? Your brain goes quiet. So today, let's make journaling feel simple and approachable and also enjoyable, because remember, joy has to be at the backbone of everything. And the first step in journaling is to answer the question, why am I doing this? Which goes hand in hand with when is the best time to journal? So I did some research, and here is the answer to when is the best time to journal. Well, there is no single best time. However, there is a best time depending on what your goal for journaling is. What are you trying to get out of it? So I want to walk you through that first. Morning journaling. I'm going to write it down here just to help you guys visualize it as well. So how to choose what time of day is best for you. I'm going to be using colors here because who doesn't love a good color? I'm going to just use the pink. Again, doesn't matter. Morning journaling. Morning journaling is great to clear your mind, set intentions and priorities for the day ahead. And as I'm going through these, if anybody ever has a question or something they want to say, don't hesitate. I like these to be as interactive as we want them to be. So set intentions and priorities. It's also a great time to connect with gratitude. And I wanted to specify why I decided that the morning session would be a great time to do the gratitude. And the reason is that when you start your day noticing what's already good, your brain is going to be more likely to keep noticing it instead of defaulting to the stress and frustration throughout the day. And so gratitude is important at all times of the day. However, when it comes to journaling, after doing different research into it, I came to the conclusion that the morning time is the best to really emphasize that gratitude portion. And there's always more, but in this instance, the last reason I'm going to give you for how to decide if morning journaling is best for you is if you are trying to reduce your stress before the day begins. So overall, it is best for gratitude, goal setting, daily planning, or creativity as well. Okay. Then I want to also explain to decide if maybe evening is the best for you. Evening journaling. Evening journaling is going to be best for you If you want to process the day, reflect on what worked and what didn't, also to notice different patterns so you can assess whether it's your thought patterns, how you're handling situations. Look at evening journaling as really a time for that reflection because you've already had today. So, noticing patterns. I'm going to write notice patterns. And also, it allows you to sleep with a calmer mind because if this is something, if you're struggling with falling asleep, I would also recommend the evening. You are not late, Bella. We are just starting. Welcome. I wrote sleeper. We're just going to cross it out. Sleep with a calmer mind. Okay, Jenna just made an interesting point. So I may need to journal morning and night. Maybe. And I think that that's something that you'll learn over time. And as I do these different sessions with you all, it'll be important to note that sometimes you don't need to write this full journal entry. It's sometimes helpful to have a fast approach to it, but I'll get to that. And you'll slowly start to learn yourself better if maybe you're more consistent with one or how you can go about combining the two. So sleep with a calmer mind. Now, there is a third option here, and that is going to be the midday journaling. And that midday journaling, good morning, Nakia. This is going to be, I would personally say that the midday is going to be the hardest one to do just because life gets in the way. It's hard to just take that time out and just stop. However, if you are able to, it is also really helpful to connect with your goals, or reconnect, I should say. To reconnect with your goals, realign your energy. Good morning, Becca. Hey, Alyssa. I'm so happy to hear that. Also, to course correct midday. So, again, best for that clarity and refocusing. Now, overall, when I was looking at the research, the big theme was really this. It's not so much when you journal, but it's that you do it consistently. Regular journaling has been linked with lower stress and anxiety, better mood. There's also some physical health benefits. And yes, Unicorn Lady, we do. I currently have them pinned. They're number 1 in your carts. They're the ones I'm showing right here. So, again, it's not that the time of day is magic. It's about the habit of doing it consistently. So that is my overall takeaway when I was looking at the research about the best time of journaling is that, again, it all goes down to what are you trying to get out of it. So look at this as like a little quiz, quote unquote, where to decide what time of day is going to be best for you, I want you to pick how many, I don't know, we'll call them bullets, are going to fit with your goals. And I want you guys to let me know right now which one based off of these are going to be fitting you best. And yes, Sean, I received it. Thank you so much. Looking at this, I've been doing journaling for a long time. So I have tried everything. You need to define your why. Yes. Your why is ultimately the core of your journaling. What are you trying to get out of it? Again, you can always try. I would give yourself 2 weeks to try each. Shauna said it's evening for her. I tend to lean towards the evening myself. Again, I've tried it all, and my why typically aligns most with the evening. I find that I do a little bit of the morning through my planner. So it gives me that way to set up for the day. I get to set my intentions and priorities, and then at night, I get to really reflect on it all. So some of you are saying evening. Now, I think that tends to be the most common, which is why I'm glad today that we're actually focusing on trying something new with the morning. I will do an evening one again, but I wanted to focus on the morning today to, again, align with our why. That is huge. So I mentioned that again, today's workshop is going to be that morning journaling, but the why behind why we're doing this is because this is also going to help give you momentum. So throughout the day, before the world throws things at you, from the emails to the stress, other people's energy, just life in general, it's going to give you a moment to check in with yourself. It helps you start from clarity instead of chaos. There is a saying, and I really like it. It's that one where it's, you need to choose the tone of your day before the day chooses it for you. And that is what this morning journaling session is all about. Nakia does morning and night. Amazing. Kelly mixes it up. Some days morning, some evening. That's a great point that you bring up because it allows you that flexibility to serve what you need that day. Thank you guys for sharing all of that. I really appreciate it. As I'm on here today, if any questions come up, anything that you would like me to elaborate a little more on, never hesitate. That's what this is all about. So let's dive into our morning journaling how-to time, okay? We're going to start it and I'll probably carry it over to the next page. Or do I want it to? Actually, we're just going to start on the new page and I'm going to title this our morning journal entry. Okay. So this is the part that can feel a little intimidating or scary when you're just starting out because a lot of us picture journaling as writing full pages every morning with these deep thoughts, poetic language, but that's not what this has to be, and that's not going to serve you if you're a beginner. And I want you guys to remember that there is no right way to journal. Today, it's all about focusing on how to get started. You're not submitting this to anyone. It's not a homework assignment. It's about taking a moment to check in with yourself. So always remember that when you're writing this out. No one's going to be looking at this. This is for you. And one thing I always suggest time and time again when you are starting out is to have prompts to guide you. Personally, I will be writing these down today because especially as you're new, the more you start to write the prompts out with question and answer, the more comfortable, the more familiar it becomes. And over time, you'll be able to evolve and keep growing with this process. So let's dive in to how to journal in the morning, a step-by-step guide. First, step 1. This is where you are going to check in with yourself. My biggest tip I'm going to go back a second before we dive into that, explaining this, is to check in with yourself at a certain time each day or pairing it up with a certain activity each day. For example, with the morning journaling, I would recommend pairing it up with your morning cup of coffee, your morning cup of tea. That way you are more consistent because it gives you, rather than a certain time, it gives you an action to pair it up with, a habit stacking. So start off by asking yourself, I'm going to label this as step 1. Check in with yourself. Okay? Ask yourself, what's going on inside me right now? But I'm going to break that down to guide you even further. This is just the overall focus of the check-in. I'm actually just going to rephrase that to what's going on with me right now. Okay? So this is where I want you to write 1 to 3 sentences about how you are feeling. But the key to beginning your journaling session career is about the specifics. How do I get specific and not just free-flowing, random, that doesn't come together? Because journaling is supposed to serve a purpose, and always come back to your why. It's that you want to clear your mind, set intentions, connect with gratitude, and reduce your stress before the day begins. So what's going on with me right now, starting off with physically and emotionally. How do you feel emotionally / physically? Another question, what's on your mind? And the third, anything lingering from yesterday. I'm going to walk you through how I would also go about maybe answering some of these. So how do you feel emotionally / physically? Keep in mind, you're doing this in the morning, ideally when you wake up and before you dive into the daily activities. So how are you feeling emotionally, physically? How did you sleep last night? Do you feel well rested? Are you feeling a little anxious? These are the things I want you to try to dive into. So let's say today you are feeling a little anxious, but let's get even clearer on that. Today, how did you wake up feeling? Let's go down to the nitty gritty here to really dive into on a deeper level. Today, I woke up feeling anxious, but about what? Okay. Always try to dive into a little bit deeper, that asking yourself why, and why. Okay. So today I woke up feeling anxious. Why? About having enough time to get everything done. Also, making time for others, or my goals, actually. That's what I woke up a little stressed out about today. Physically. Okay, because again, just come back to that fitness goal that we're working on. How are we going to really get that done? Sometimes we feel a little anxious about that when we wake up. That is okay. I don't want you to critique yourself too much, because that is when we start off the day on a negative note. When this morning one is, yes, it's about clearing your mind. You can dive a little deeper into your why, but try to do so from a point of informative. Think about yourself as a data or as a guinea pig, and you're looking for the data points. Rather than starting the day off with that negative mindset of, I don't think I'm making enough time. I don't feel great today. I'm blah, blah, blah. No, okay, let's take a step back. You can write that, but let's make sure that it's a little bit more helpful for us, a little more informative. So I was feeling a little anxious about how I'm going to get everything done. Also about making time for my goals physically, if you're sore, things like that, if that makes sense. Because the next question is also, what's on your mind? This is a great way to clear it all out and elaborate a little more deeply on that first prompt. This is a step mindset with the word yet, exactly. And as I'm writing these, it's important to note that look to this as more of a structure on how to start your journaling. So if it's easier for you to process it, you can write the 3 bullet points and then elaborate. I'm really breaking it down to a very micro level here. Okay, so you could combine these 3. This is just how I think about my journaling for a morning journaling session. So what's on your mind today? Well, honestly, my mind is feeling jumpy about all the upcoming deadlines. What is taking up space in your mind? I'm feeling anxious about time management. Hey, Patty, good morning. Welcome to our journaling workshop. Okay. So you see how we're kind of elaborating. We're going through the motions of how was I feeling? What's on my mind? And then the last question for this part is going to be what's lingering from yesterday? So, or just anything lingering from yesterday. Well, what's lingering? Maybe there was a situation that you didn't handle to your best ability, or you didn't feel like your best self yesterday and you didn't get enough done that you wanted to. And maybe you were a little snippy. And if that's still bothering you, write it down, okay? Because what this allows you to do is put yesterday in the past. It allows you to learn and grow, and it allows you to not repeat the same patterns today if we are using this as data. Because now you're going to notice how you feel waking up. If something's on your mind, you get to elaborate it because oftentimes that is what holds us back from waking up at a 5 or what holds us back from waking up at a 5 where we wake up as a 3. And then you get to see, oh, maybe something from yesterday is carrying over into today. Okay. Now we are able to take this information and we are able to start today fresh. So we have already cleared our mind. That is the power of a morning journaling session. So what you do here is you take what you learn and you clarify today. You start by setting your intentions and your priorities. Before we do that, I want to make sure we're all clear on step 1. Check in with yourself. And if there's any clarity that you guys would like for step 1, don't hesitate to ask. That is what this is all about. So I'll start writing step 2. If there's questions, you guys, let me know. Step 2, we are going to call this section Clarify What Matters Today. Oh, thank you guys so much. I really appreciate that. Okay. The purpose of this is going to be Again, coming back to that intention and priority setting. So what I want us to do for this is, oh, I'm so happy. Also, hey, Betsy, is you guys, this part right here had that real overarching question of what's going on with me right now. This one, we're going to do each prompt in the pink, and then I'll write more of the answers in the gray. Because this one, it's going to be more broken down into specific prompts rather than that overarching. Okay? So what we're going to start with is, what is one thing that really matters today? Okay. Another way of answering this, sorry, let me just take a step back there. What's one thing that really matters today? The answer to that is going to be, think of this as your priority. So I'm going to write the word priority. This can be anything. We all are in a different situation. We all have those different priorities, whether it's your family, your career, whatever it might be. This is going to give you that clarity into today. So you've moved on from tomorrow. Okay, let's start up with our attitude for today. Our priority, for example, if you have a presentation to finish, if you need to finish baking all the goods for a bake sale, it could also be something more conceptual. Like maybe you need to show up for yourself today. How is that going to look? That's your priority right there. So really taking that priority and making it a specific goal, even if it's conceptual. Showing up for yourself today. Well, what does that look like? Is it cleaning up around the house because you've been putting it off and you are starting to feel like it's getting out of hand? That is your priority because it makes it more attainable. You have something to see, did I do this today? I'm going to write for this example to finish my presentation. And I tend to keep one priority. I think that this allows us to make sure, hey, Melissa, good morning. Starting off with one priority keeps it more focused, and it allows your brain to really start the day off with that focus in mind. So you're a little less jumpy, because we talk a lot about how to organize your to-dos, plan out your priorities in your planner, which is perfect. This session is really focusing on the journaling aspect. And for a journal, for your mind, for your peace, keep it more straightforward. Okay? One priority. Yes, another Melissa. Hello, you guys. I'm so glad you're all showing up for yourself today. That's amazing. The next question I like to dive into for this portion is, what would make today meaningful? Because what happens oftentimes is we let the day go by. And rather than, again, coming back to that quote that I mentioned earlier, rather than setting the tone for the day, we let the day set the tone for us. And to combat this, what we need to do is ask ourselves, how are we going to feel purposeful, fulfilled today? That's what it's all about. What does meaningful look like to you? So at the end of the day, you can be confident and really satisfied with what you accomplished. It was clear, it was focused, and you made sure that this was the top of your mind today. So for example, if you are trying to focus on your relationships, connect with one of your friends tonight. Something actually, today I had this feeling of I really wanted to reach out to one of my friends. I was feeling like I missed them, and I just wanted to tell them I was thinking about them. So you know what I did? I didn't think about it. I just did it. I just sent them a quick little text, and I could tell that they appreciated it, but it wasn't even about that. It was that I wanted to do it. Doing something because you don't expect anything in return is oftentimes some of the most meaningful things that can happen to us. So what would make today meaningful? Now, I want to put myself in the mindset as I was doing this really early today because that is the best time to do this. And so what would make today meaningful as though it didn't happen would be reaching out to a friend or just, connecting with a friend today. It could also be something that aligns with your priority. What would make today meaningful? Doing my best work on my presentation. These can go hand in hand. It doesn't have to be completely different. Again, it's setting that tone and clarifying what matters today. How can I go about today in a purposeful manner? And ultimately, why this matters is that it does help prevent overwhelm and it gives that direction. That is the key purpose of this. Okay. So now that we've clarified what matters today, I want us to get even more specific with our intention. So these go very hand in hand. So I'm going to call this step 2B because it's not really a separate step. I'm trying to decide if I would think it is. We're going to call it actually step 3. Why not? We're going to go set intention. Okay. This is where I want us to start by asking ourselves, how do I want to show up today? That is the question number 1. Because now that we've identified what we want to do, what we want to accomplish today, I want to dive into the how I want to show up. So we've identified the what matters, and it's important to identify how is this going to happen by setting an intention. So how do I want to show up today? I like to dive into that emotional aspect, really focusing on our mental space because that is the key of journaling, in my opinion, is really connecting with your mind, your soul, and making sure that things are clear and you have that purpose to come back to. So here I like to choose a word, an attitude. It could also be like a mantra, something that you can really align your mindset with today. Just for some examples, to give you that clarity, it could be calm, curious. It could be motivated. It could also be steady. Let's see, it could be confident. It could also be present. There's so many different ways that we all want to go about our day, and we all have something different to focus on. So right now, can you guys write your word or attitude that you want to have today? For us, I'm really feeling like I want to maintain that calmness. It's easy to get worked up. It's easy to feel that overwhelming with everything that's going on. But if we remain calm and steady, I'm actually going to do 2 words. I'm going to do calm and steady. That way, this will help us combat how we're feeling right now and how we want to move through today. You see how it's all connecting? It all ties back in together. What I love about this question is that this is how we take the data that we've learned in step 1 and we put it into action. So we know that we woke up feeling a little anxious. Taking it one step further, we identified why. about everything going on, how we're going to find that balance. Okay, you see the way in my voice just thinking about it, I'm getting a little worked up. That means that is something that I want to take an action plan towards, okay? How can I do that? Well, I want to focus on being calm and steady today. That is the key. That is why I think this question is so valuable and so important. You can also expand on this. So, when do you want to feel this? I want to feel calm and steady when working on the task at hand. That is going to take it even further. That is how you elaborate and dive into that. Why am I choosing these two words? And what this helps you do is, because you might be asking yourself, well, why does this really matter? And a simple explanation to combine to everything we just talked about is that your intention does shape how you respond to challenges. Okay? Step 4, because step 3 was really that gratitude, step 3 was that intention setting, getting that clarity. The next step is coming back to our goals for this session. We've cleared our mind, we've set intentions, we've set our priorities. Well, let's connect with our gratitude. So, write 1 to 3 things that you are grateful for this morning. And I want you to tap into the moment. So right now, what are you grateful for? Right this second. For example, I appreciate that, Jenna. Jenna said, Caitlin doing this live. I right this second am actually feeling very grateful for you all showing up today, actually. That really sparked some gratitude in me. So I'm going to break this down. Define community showing up for themselves. Also, a warm bed. Hard to get out of it today, but you know what? I'm so grateful for it that I get to have it to go back to tonight. And 3, my morning coffee. It gets me out of bed. So when I am struggling to get up, I know that I have something to look forward to. It doesn't have to be anything too crazy. That's what I also wanted to show with this gratitude. Some days it's going to be a little more big, if you want to call it. Family, health. But sometimes in the morning when you first wake up, you are most grateful for the little things, for that warm bed, for a community showing up for themselves, for your cup of coffee. And I want to talk a little bit about why this matters, because gratitude is one of those things I think that's said so much. Oh, hey, Spooky. But the reason why it is so valuable is this is how we shift our mindset, change our direction toward the goodness before the day starts. How you get out of bed, how you speak to yourself in the morning is how your day ultimately goes. There's that saying. I love a good saying that is hit so close to home, and it's oh my gosh, you guys, I'm blanking. A grateful heart leads to a grateful day. You can also put it as a grateful mind leads to a grateful day. It is so important to have that to come back to keep you grounded. You're grateful for your family and your first snowstorm. See, it's easy. I could see a lot of us waking up and being annoyed about a snowstorm. But the way that you just wrote that is that you're grateful for your first snowstorm. That already shifts the way you go about your day. A grateful day starts with a grateful heart. That was the saying I was looking for. A grateful day starts with a grateful heart. And it's so true. Okay? I just think that's something that once you know the why, it all makes sense. It gives you that little aha moment. So I hope that aha moment happened, you guys. Now, here is the last step to your journaling. I wish I did put the step 1 over here because I'm going to have to flip to a new page. But that is A-okay. So I'm just going to title this. I like to put a title again, Morning Journaling Continued. Okay, so we are on, just to review, we are now on step 5. So we need to reduce our stress before the day begins. That is the last, I say in quotation marks because there's so many reasons, but for our purposes, the last goal is to reduce our stress before the day begins. How do we do this? Through action. It's how we do most things. Always through action. That is what really takes that anxiety out of it. It's how we reduce our stress. And the reason being, we'll have a plan in place. We'll have things that we need to get done today. So when we have those moments of anxiety come up of, how am I going to get all this done? How am I going to make it through today knowing I have so much to do? How am I going to give my full attention? You see how it's so easy to spiral? We're going to put a pause in that spiral and we are going to put it into action. What is one small action? First, let me actually title this section, which is supportive action. So I want you to identify what, I don't like the word necessarily small. I know a lot of us phrase things as like, what's one small action I can take today that aligns with my intention? I don't love the word small because I think that sometimes minimizes it. So instead, we're going to say, what's one action? Because it doesn't matter the quote deemed size of the action, you are still doing something that supports your end goal. So what's something I can do today that aligns with my intention? I'm actually thinking about this now. Oh, things spooky. I'm going to actually break this down a little differently than I had in my head the first time. What's something I can do that aligns with my intention? That's going to be our question 1. So look at this one as less of a specific, okay, sorry. I want to rephrase kind of what I said. I had mentioned action. That's going to come second. The first thing I want to do is really showing our intention. So we have our intention as calm and steady. I want to feel calm and steady when working on the task at hand. How? How do I want to feel calm and steady when working on the task at hand? This is going to be the first portion of the question. Okay? So our intention, always come back to that intention of I want to remain calm and steady. And how are you going to do this? Oh, yes, absolutely. Let me pause that for you. So I'll first show you this part, and then I'll go to the next page as well. So this part right here, just for a quick pause, because that's a great question. And I will be uploading this to the tube right after. So if you want to go back and rewatch for a full in-depth explanation, just know that that will be available. This is how the first one where I said journaling workshop, that first page, that's going to help you decide what time of day is best for your journaling session based off of your why and your goals. This is how we're going to call it that journaling 101. And I walk you through those different ways of asking yourself different prompts and going about answering them. So after the gratitude, again, we are focusing on our intention, that supportive action. And I like to start with that overarching feeling of remaining calm and steady. And to do this, we are going to keep our phone on do not disturb. If you have for instance, I have a specific one that is set for work. So I want to remain calm and steady at work. Oh, Patty, I'm so helpful to hear that. By keeping my phone on D&D work mode. Okay. Also, making a plan or make a priority list is what I wanted to call this. Make a priority list. That way, when the anxious and overwhelming feelings come up, I know I have a plan in place. Now, I had mentioned the word action, and the reason I really wanted to break this into two is because this right here is going to help us remain calm and steady, and it gives us a little bit of a how can I do this? But I want to elaborate on now setting up those specific action items when it comes to clarifying our priorities and what would make today meaningful. So we're going to break this down now into a little bit of a actionable question because our intention was really that calm and steady. But now what action will help me reach / complete step 2. Okay, let's break this down. We know our priority is to finish the presentation. Okay, so finishing my presentation. I find it's the most helpful to take a look at what we just wrote for how we were going to reach our intention and kind of combining it. Again, I want to make sure this is clear, so if you need me to break it down further, just let me know. But how can I finish my presentation and incorporate something that I wrote up here? Great. Finish my presentation. How do I do this? When I am making my schedule for the day or my plans for the day. I'm going to dedicate time for my presentation. During this time, I'll implement the do not disturb work mode. Now, what you can do when you're journaling is always feel free to combine the two. So this is really helpful, especially in the beginning when you're trying to have those segues, have things connect, have the data lean into or turn that data into a how can I improve this? So just always keep that in mind. You can combine these two. You wouldn't have to necessarily write a separate prompt. I just find it really helpful, especially in the beginning of journaling, to have this to guide your session, that extra clarity. So that is our first way to complete step 2. The second way is we want to make sure that we feel fulfilled. And so if we're feeling fulfilled work-wise, well, what was that personal, meaningful connection that we wanted to make? We wanted to connect with a friend today. Great. Be specific. That is going to be done by just sending a I'm thinking about you message. So I'm just going to write, and make a plan to get together. So you see how it doesn't always take too much to have that productive journaling session. It's just about making the time for it, but you don't necessarily have to spend an hour doing this every day. Now, for our workshop session, it's been so helpful to have this time together. But you can also make it as simple as you need. So what I want to take away from this is that, yes, we have spent a lot of time going over how to make it a full journaling walkthrough. We did, just to break it down one more time, how I feel, what matters today, how I want to show up, gratitude, and one small action. But remember, you can write one sentence per question. That counts. There is no right or wrong. There is no length. This isn't an essay. You don't need to have a page count. There's no word count. This approach is just powerful because you get to acknowledge your inner state, you choose what's important, and you decide how you want to show up. You also practice noticing what's good, and you are connecting your intention to your action. This is what creates momentum. The last thing I wanted to do was, just in case you guys are ever feeling let's say you have to drive the kids to school, you have to go straight to all of these thinkings, to all of these meetings, but you don't know how you're going to fit this in. I'm going to give you a short list of prompts that you can do for a quick 5-minute journaling session, okay? That's how I want to just end this. You get caught in your head thinking people will read it after you're gone. You can't think like that. I know that's so easier said than done because I feel that. But I want you to remember that that is not what it's about. It's about the present. If we live to be afraid of everything after we're gone, we're not going to live in the morning. In the moment, in the morning. But I think that's such a valid feeling. Oh, wow. Okay. That's fascinating. That's actually not something I thought about yet. I had the thought at one point, and to be honest with you, I had this older journal, and I didn't love what I was. Oh, you are not the only one. And I wrote down a lot of stuff that was no longer true, and I would never want anyone to read it. So to be totally honest with you, I threw it away. Because I want you to know that you don't always have to keep these journals forever, okay? It's great. It's a great way to see how much you're journaling. But sometimes you don't feel that way and you just don't want it to live on. And you don't want that feeling of what if someone sees this? What if? If that ends up being how you feel, get rid of it. That's okay. I want you guys to remember that. And just know, I think we have to keep in mind that what we are doing for us right now, absolutely, is to serve us right now. Okay? That's something that's really hard to overcome, but it's something to try to do. The short version of these questions, if you are in a pinch, which I think can be a helpful method for people, is to sum it up with, how do I feel? Let me just write. How do I feel? What's one thing that matters today? And how do I want to show up? Okay. Those are going to be the 3 points for when you're in a hurry, when you don't have the time to sit down fully with your journal. Come back to those 3 points. But you guys, this right here has been Journaling Made Simple. I do like to date each entry. I usually do a date and the time. I like the time because it allows me to see what times I've been journaling, and sometimes the way you feel in the morning can change at night. So dating each entry. For instance, I would sit down. Yes, I always write the time. Great question. So the way I do it is it doesn't matter where you do it. I tend to do it on the left because I won't have a title. So I would do today would be, I keep wanting to write 10, but it's 11/6, and then I do the year, and then I would do the time, so 11 a.m. And I would write like a.m. Oh, yes. I always do the time, and I get really specific with it, so 9:26 p.m., 11:05 a.m. Today was specifically 11 o'clock, so that makes it easier for us, but I love the time. Fabulous question, you guys. I'm just going. Yes. Oh my gosh, such a good point. I just wanted to. I love to do that. That's what makes this so fun. And I want you guys to challenge yourself to try this for a week or 2 weeks. Okay? And I want you to come back and throughout this process, I want you to ask yourself, do I feel more grounded? Do I feel more intentional? And do I feel more clear and set up for the day? Because these small habits create big change. And I personally believe, and the research supports, that journaling is a powerful small habit. So I am so grateful that you guys shared your desire for a journaling live as well. I'm going to be doing an evening one, so stay tuned for that. And I actually just want to thank you guys for showing up for yourself today, because this is never an easy thing. Okay? So give yourself a hug, a pat on the back, whatever it might be, and just thank you for showing up. Thanks, Jenna. Oh, you guys are incredible. I'm so proud of you guys. It's insane. Thank you all once again, and I'll talk to you all later. Have an amazing day, everyone, and keep navigating each day with purpose. Of course, anytime, you guys, if there's ever a live that you want to see, just let me know. I'll talk to you all later.